closest matchups of the evening.
Yeah, it definitely is, and this is like the big one. I'm so pumped for this. EDG, Edward Gaming, of course, a powerhouse that's been around. I think they took out 2 of the LPL's seasons last, and then against King, the newcomers onto the scene, and we've heard some good things about these guys.
Yeah, so outside of China, King are probably not that well known, but inside of China, they've been winning a lot recently despite being a new team. And in and outside of China, EDG, known as basically the best Chinese team throughout all of 2014. Things have changed up a little bit. It's not the team that you've seen at Worlds, but you'll definitely recognize some of the players. They inherited quite the Koreans on this particular team. Deft is now their AD carry, and Pawn is their mid laner.
Yeah, and I feel that they got the 2 best suited Koreans for their team. I don't think they changed that much in Deft at all. Of course, that very much control AD that just excels at team fighting, and Pawn in the mid lane can play whatever he wants. This guy's an absolute monster. And it's kind of weird because I say that, but I still think he's only the 2nd best mid laner in China.
Well, he might be. There's a lot of talent in China, both from the Koreans that have come to play in the LPL and just locally in the region as well. So we'll have to see. But Pawn, his Worlds performance was out of this world. He played spectacularly, pretty much on whatever champion you threw at him. And I think EDG definitely inherited a lot of good players. Maybe IG got the best end in terms of upgrades to their playstyle, but EDG cannot be far off in terms of how good these players are.
Yeah, definitely. And they retained their really good Chinese players as well. Of course, they have Koro in the top lane. He's like their big rock, and he plays the most unselfish top lane game I have seen in a long time. Very willing to zone, very willing to play whatever his team needs to get up there. He is the captain, and he really carries a lot of the pressure in that top lane.
It's funny because we've seen so many carry top laners today, it feels like. So kind of going back to maybe the more utility style. I guess a bit of Akon in the last series gave us a glimpse into what that's like. But yeah, Koro has gone from being, a decent to good top laner in China to just being really, really good. He's picked up a lot since during Worlds and since then as well. And he's up there in the conversation with a player like Going, who probably has the best top lane player, in China mantle right now.
Yeah, and he's just a beast. He does it in the weirdest ways. Just if you want to study one person in this game that plays his role very uniquely, check Koro out, because as I said, his map movements in team fights are purely to keep other members of his team safe.
Yep, so retaining that jungler as well. Clear Love, the last remaining member of the Old World Elite squad, still playing as we are going to jump into our champ select. King are going to be on the blue side here for this first game. They're over on the left, and EDG on the right. They'll be our red team. Rumble has been the first ban here for King, kind of targeting Koro a little bit there, and Jana the first ban for EDG.
Yeah, and as we round out EDG's lineup, we've of course talked about Pawn and Deft. Mouse is their new support player, of course. FZZF
has retired. Officially retired, I think, today, which is unfortunate for old fans.
Yeah, definitely one of the best supports worldwide, and maybe it's definitely a bad thing, do not get me wrong, but it also gives them an opportunity to start from scratch with Deft and Mouse, being able to build that synergy together. Yeah,
and again, another Korean-Chinese duo lane, or bottom lane, I guess. So we'll see how that goes as they kind of get to learn how to play with each other more. Fizz is going to be the pick there for King. Yasmo actually banned. Massive respect to Assassin there by EDG.
Yeah, exactly, and we haven't really touched on King's lineup, and we've just heard that these guys individually are so strong. The games that they win, they have been known to win in like 20-minute stompish fashion. They've been pushed late game as well and proven that they can play that way, but what we have heard is Assassin plays Orianna, and then exactly what his namesake is.
Assassins, which is always great. Always good when they live up to their name. And I guess the easiest way to maybe explain King to new LPL fans, if you're familiar with the Chinese scene from maybe last year, OMG, a big team, of course, competed at Worlds, did very well there. King are the team that OMG were when they first came onto the scene and started dominating back in about 2013, before EDG basically plays through all of last year. King are a really hyped up-and-coming team that have had really consistent results. So they've placed top 3 or top 4 in most of their recent tournaments towards the end of last year. And again, this is a big test for them because it's EDG's new lineup, and King, one of the all-Chinese teams still left in the LPL, really going to be tested here against a big team. And the bans are done, by the way. LeBlanc ban and Jarvan ban's the last one there as well. And King are not considering what their first pick's going to be.
Yeah, and for those that are brand new and haven't seen any of the old or the new LPL, what that looks like for King is early grouping and smashing people in team fights, and it is so fun to watch.
Lots of aggression. If you heard that the Chinese scene is aggressive, King might be the team you want to wave your flag for, because old OMG and King now, they just group up and they go in. It was described as the freight train all this time ago, and Lysandra is the first pick there for King.
Wow.
And an instant 2 picks there. Nah and Rek'Sai are in the house.
Yeah, and that is so much CC in an AoE area. If Nah gets a huge ultimate across, Rek'Sai can pop up, and they just cover so much distance with their gap closes, and the knockups are so potent.
Yeah, we'll see as well as King consider their second and third picks now in this particular draft. We have not seen any Rek'Sai, I think today, maybe one game in the many that we've had already. And Clearlove is one of those junglers that still plays more of the older Chinese style. He loves farming a lot, loves to add to skirmishes and fights rather than be aggressive and gank. Has had moments where when he turns it on, he's able to get really aggressive and actually carry for his team, but that's quite rare for Clearlove, and I'm curious to see how he plays on Rek'Sai.
He definitely picks his moments. He's one of those junglers that will not gank if he does not feel he needs to gank. He's had such strong laners that he lets them farm through, gets himself strong, and then they count on their ability to be able to win these team fights and, as you said, small skirmishes and take objectives.
Yeah, as well. And it seems like some pretty interesting ones here. Annie and Twitch are the first
gosh.
2 picks here. Deft is going to classic Deft for this first game.
Yeah, Deft's Twitch is a pleasure to watch. This guy gets an auto attack off every single time he possibly can. His damage per second for an AD is absolutely huge, and Twitch is his signature champion for doing that.
Yeah, and it was the same thing when at Worlds when Deft was playing. People described his Corki in a very similar manner. He just ekes out every little point of damage that he can. As we do have the lineup is completed here for King. Sivir and Azir with their picks, and Rengar has gone in as well, so they're all done, leaving EDG with their 5th and final pick.
Yeah, and seeing so much Rengar today, as in response EDG lock in a mid Cassidy.
Wow.
To go up against
confident
Azir.
Pawn, playing whatever he wants as always.
Yeah, and we've seen from Pawn that he's one of those guys that reaches into his back pocket and just pulls a champion out. He just performs to a very high level on everything he plays.
And I think Pawn, it's so difficult to characterize him as a player because he's so versatile, such a big champion pool. But if you ask me, what's Pawn's strength? I actually can't tell you because I've seen him both have incredible situational awareness, play team fights perfectly, and just understand where he needs to be and be there. But also his understanding of the game at a really micro level is incredible as well. His cooldown knowledge, his it's just insane how good he is.
I was going to say, the thing that really surprises me and impresses me every single time I see Pawn play is that exactly what you just described. He knows his damage output and everyone else's damage output that he plays with. And what that means is he never has to overextend, he never has to overuse abilities, and he just, as you said, really, really down to a core level, understands exactly what he's trying to achieve and his team.
Yeah, very cerebral mid player, and it's beautiful to watch. So calculating, just so precise. I'm curious to see how well he plays here on this team because, again, his Worlds performance was unbelievable from that mid lane, really picking things up. And both these teams have got so much exciting stuff. A lot of new Koreans here for EDG and a brand new, really strong-looking Chinese team in King.
Yeah, and if we've seen anything today, it's that LPL and the Chinese meta has evolved to the point where they're putting a lot of onus on vision control, tonight particularly. So I'm interested to see if EDG and King will bring that same kind of stuff.
Yeah, really impressed in general as we are going to get into this first game here. Remember, this is our last best of 2, ladies and gentlemen. King on the left for our first game, EDG on the right. And boy, oh boy, this is a fantastic way to end our evening. And what an evening it has been. Mouse here just hanging out on support Annie, which we didn't touch on too much in the draft, as we do have a quick pause here.
Yeah, we certainly do. And the other thing we didn't touch on is we mentioned that Assassin plays Orianna and Assassins. Azir has been picked up, and Azir's kind of like Orianna 2.0 in a way, just because has a lot of zone control with the soldiers, much like the ball does, and then utilizing your ultimate, much like a shockwave, to displace people and move them around can add a lot of different dynamics in team fights.
Yeah, just really interesting to see how that's going to go. We saw Azir already today against Fizz. Was generally just impressed about how well, I think Bucker was playing that, how well you can keep people out. Like an assassin like Fizz who wants to go in can maybe be kept up, but Cassin a little harder to keep out. So we'll see what happens. We are back. Coro will find some friends here as Sky and XMLG, sorry. We'll find him in the top side of the map, but they'll just put some wards now, ward up those Krugs. Coro will throw some boomerangs back and forth for some harass, but just some deep wards being put. I want to check out these jungle camps at level 1.
Yeah, and it looks like that was the first, second actually. There was a group of 5 last game, but that was the first time we've really seen much action come through level 1. Playing a lot safer. With the new patch, of course, teams do need some time to figure out what the most optimal way to invade is, because if things go wrong at level 1, it is devastating. But it looks like we will have standard lanes with Twitch Annie going up against Silverthresh.
Yeah, that's not a usual lane, shall we say. Haven't seen support Annie in a little while, but seems perfectly fine again. Actually started, I guess, in China, which is kind of interesting. It's one of those supports that Makako Tabu way back in the day, back on the old Royal, if you guys remember back to that, but he well, goes down the bottom. Mouse has found a friend here. Wooks is going in there on that series. It's forced to flash out there for Annie. Def, though, wants to go in level 1. He's 2v1 right now. Can he get the kill? He maybe wants it. There's the E popping up, but a good playback from Liam there as well. Def is still going. The poison sticking away. If he wants it, he can maybe flash full, but they save their summoner spells for now, and a big level 1 trade.
And that shows you how calculated Def is. Normal AD carries would back away from that, take Mouse's HP loss, but he understood that he could stick in there, equalize the trade, and that is so well played out of EDG's AD carry.
Got to be careful though. Thresh is giving it a little bit of health back. Potions have been chugged as well. And looks like Civ is going to continue doing the thing that she's been doing pretty much all evening and pushing people in with the Ricochet at level 1. So we'll see here as that's so many letters. XMLG is going through on that Rengar, just kind of moving through, maybe even trying to spot Rek'Sai here. Good ward actually will find that blue buff and notice that Clearlove's been starting that.
Yeah, so Clearlove just moving away from that blue buff for now. Maybe an invade coming in here as Clearlove does the wrong. Yep.
Yeah, Rengar's going to find him. Clearlove actually has to be quite careful, tunnels away. And that might give the Grump over to Rengar here. That's a good bit of counter jungling. Thresh even rotating up as well, so nice steal there from Rengar.
Yeah, and that might be the blue buff under some pressure as well. No choosing to back off, of course. Mouse on Annie does have the ability to charge those stuns and get the AoE across, but they have started it up. So this is a nice bit of counter jungling coming out of King here and some very early aggression.
And this maybe is one of the things that Rek'Sai suffers a bit from. She can get counter jungled early on as the blue buff does go there to Rengar and Clearlove as well. Probably not used to people being in his jungle too often as Korra here on Sky. Going to get real aggressive with the damage. Look at that.
That is such a good aggressive format because the wave was pushing in his favor. Now has equalized a little bit as he chucks a couple more boulders in there. And Sky needs to be careful because on the next evolve, if the same thing happens, he's in kill zone.
Yeah. And Lissandra, I mean, this is a matchup that we actually haven't seen, I think, at all this evening, but one that's been very popular on the latest section patch, kind of with the preseason moving in. In terms of matchup, is this favorable for Lissandra normally, or is not kind of going to be the bully still here?
Yeah, I think this is one of the more skill-based matchups. Both champions can push the wave out very well. I think that Nart, in general, gets tankier quicker. I think that's the benefit of it. So I was going to say provides more to a gank. I don't even think that's the right way to put it. I think it's just because he adds more HP into the lane earlier, doesn't suffer from ganks as much as what a Lissandra does. She is prone to being camped.
So very early blue buff going to go over to Assassin's Azir here, as Rengar will donate that away.
That is so important. Azir is so mana hungry early in the game. If he can pick that up and it doesn't cost MLXG anything this early in the game, it's a very nice contribution to that mid laner. Yeah,
and that's just going to maybe make Pawn's life a little tricky there in the middle. He's up in CS right now, up against this Azir, so doing well on the melee Cassinan in his early levels. Yeah,
Cassinan is farming quite nicely, using that Q to just mitigate a lot of the damage, as we see Sivir still continuing to push down in this bottom lane.
Yeah, Deft a little low actually. Lamb getting aggressive, tries to look for the flares. Mouse really wants to throw that stun up, but knows the spell shield. No, it's actually down, but does not throw the CC. Clearlove down. The bottom is coming in though. Can he find the knockup? Good stunner. They're going to go on to Lamb there. Follow through as well with the damage, forcing the flash out, and Thresh will get away for now.
Yeah, great dodge of the boomerang there from Deft as well. Not having to burn any of his summoner spells, so they get that one in their advantage, although still extremely low.
Love the zones that Assassin's putting up here with his soldiers as well. I mean, the blue buff, as you mentioned, Spawn, going to be quite irritating here in this particular lane, but Assassin putting his soldiers in great spots, forcing Spawn back in first blood. Thresh actually picks up the kill under Depth. Clearlove tries to go back in, does get the counter kill. But really nice there from King to secure first blood in that situation.
Yeah, able to pick that one up and a little bit of a CS advantage as well, now starting to build. That's actually going to be quite significant. And I was going to touch on the fact that normally when you take Twitch into a matchup, you lane swap.
Yep.
Because of how hard he he struggles early game, honestly. So in doing that and electing into 2v2, maybe a little bit of overconfidence out of the EDG lineup. And wow!
Yeah, dive coming in there. Rengo's going to dive this turret, but maybe taking a little bit too much damage. Pawn has flashed away. Does get the first kill. Now Assassin's in there as well. Maybe going to get 2 kills there into the tower, and does.
Wow, why would you dive that close when he had both summoner spells up? Overcommitment out of the King lineup, and
great ult, though, as Korra's in trouble here from Sky. The damage does come in. He transforms immediately, which is very important, just in the nick of time. But Liam's coming up. It's a good ultimate, but not enough to pick up Sky, and he basically gets the 1v1.
Yeah, that was really nice play from Sky to go aggressive at the right point. As there was a little bit of pushing up the lane without having to go back and shop yet. So just winning the outward 1v1, as you said.
Yeah, and just, again, one of those skill matchups that you described in the top lane. Lissandra, I think, did a really nice job just hitting level 6 first. Not sure if Sky exactly had all that experience sort of calculated in his head, but the fact that he got to use his ultimate first was a huge boon. And you saw Lissandra's biggest tool in almost any situation is how good her ultimate is at engaging, because you just used it on Tanar, was able to E in and just follow up with plenty of good damage.
Yeah, and that's when Lissandra does the most damage. When she ults and gets to E through people, not for a gap closer, but for damage, it does so much damage. But then the scary thing is you flip the situation and you think, well, she had just bought. Now we're sitting on a longsword and was able to nearly turn the 1v1.
Yeah, I think it's...
with just pure passive being Gnar.
It's honestly, I mean, it's amazing how good Mega Gnar is the champions. We do pop back into this game here. Gnar in, like, range form is annoying and decent, but nothing particularly, super strong. Mega Gnar as a champion is unbelievably good, but it's just you don't get to be Mega Gnar that often or all of the time. So that's kind of how that balance works. And you saw, yeah, Korra, even without items as Mega Gnar, almost getting the kill 1v1.
Yeah, and we see BF Sword's now being picked up in the bottom lane, so that's going to help out on the side of King so much. Going back already is Deft for the second time to pick up his Cutlass. Just trying to get a little bit more lifesteal and some damage in that lane.
Yeah, looks like Rengo going to clean out the red buff for himself as well. Was a little underleveled in that last dive against Pawn, so probably going through. And Clearlove's actually hit level 6, which is insane given that his blue buff got counter jungled. Something has gone very amiss in this jungle matchup.
Yeah, so Clearlove able to get that ultimate out with that tunnel being in the bottom lane. He's got tunnels in his jungle so he can move around extremely quickly. That's why Rek'Sai is so good, because she can farm in between camps and then be a presence on the map. However, it does need to get some tunnels out into the river to put just that implied pressure that she can be anywhere at once. And
we talked about Clearlove as being this player that maybe, is a bit not super reactive, but likes to pick his spots and keep farming when that and kind of maximize the value out of his jungle. I figure that's, I guess, Rek'Sai seems like a great champion for him to be playing.
Yeah, and he has been able to tunnel into the bottom brush, so look for them to go a super aggressive.
Yeah, Def's going in there. Good lantern out there from Lamb will keep him safe, and no dice there in that gank for Clearlove. But Def, despite the early kill, is 20 CS down, still playing aggressive and still, giving it to this 2v2 lane of King.
Yeah, they're just trying to zone them off that wave, make sure that they can pick this up underneath the turret. And yeah, the bottom lane for King is looking super strong at the moment. They might be in trouble.
Oh, great smite there from Clearlove. Another good lantern though, and Clearlove is denied twice in a row now.
Yeah, if Clearlove had an Unburrow just at that last second, might have been able to knock him out of the lantern there. Unfortunately, wasn't so. Pawn in a lot of trouble in mid lane, however.
Yeah, looks like Rengo's coming through. Pawn's got to be careful. He's very low. Starting to get bullied out a little bit by Assassin's Azir. So it looks like Clearlove is here to help him. Rengo's around 2, so don't want to go too aggressive. Pawn, though, will chug his charges of his flask and be okay, but Pawn is actually starting to fall slightly behind in this mid lane.
Yeah,
now.
6 CS, but he does have the additional kill, so he'll be completely fine.
Oh, yeah, after the tower dive. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's just looking to try and get a little bit greedy with that Catalyst and get the next block out so he can stay, although there is a gank into the bottom lane.
Coming into bottom lane once again, just had it on water, but again, third time, not the charm for Clearlove, and he is really committing to helping Deft here, but it's not worked out.
Yeah, he's put up like a 5-star tent, and he just does not want to leave. He's camping the heck out of this bottom lane, trying to get this Twitch going.
And Def, you know, kind of keeping this lane slow pushing, not overly pushing it, wanting to collect as much CS as he can. Has closed the gap a little bit now. It's gone from 20 to 10 CS, but Def does, to be fair, need some attention because Twitch, as you mentioned, has a very weak early laning phase.
Yeah, and it looks like across the board, King is just outclassing the laners on the side of EDG. They've all built CS advantages and looking to push them through. Lissandra in particular, if she can get rolling, will be so much trouble for this Twitch because if you get flanked as a Twitch, you're in a lot. Yeah, you're just dead probably.
And that's one of the things as an AD carry. Lissandra is just horrible to try and deal with. Not even Janna, the great peeler, can save you. But you do have, again, a lot of pings here. EDG maybe thinking about their first Dragon. Pawn is going to walk into the pit. Clearlove's going to start it as well. Dragon will push them out, and they actually are going to go for this.
Yeah, this is super brave, but good vision control may allow this to go down. Down to 2,000 health, and I don't think that Rengar will be in sight quick enough to impact this.
Liam does know what's going on. Looks for a hook, but doesn't grab anyone. Rek'Sai will get the first Dragon there for EDG. So a nice little play earlier on. Clear's now going to tunnel his way out. And we're going to continue landing up here. So EDG, you know, some of these lanes a little awkward on CS right now.
Ooh, the Rengar ultimate's coming.
Yeah, nice ult there coming through. There's the ult pop for Sivir as well. Def knows he's in trouble. He does not get bowled, but he flashes anyway just to make sure. Dodges the hook out of Liam as well. And bot lane seems to be all about the ganks right now.
Yeah, and Sivir and Rengar just once again making that combo come through. Does burn the summoner spell, but not able to pick up much more. But the CS advantage still growing 26 now in favor of Sivir.
Yeah, Clearlove now just kind of clearing out the Scuttle Crab as well as he walks on back towards the mid lane and sees what he can see. Rengar as well hanging out. Clearing out some mods, actually crosses the tunnel, gets a little bit of gold there as well. Bit of a 2v2 now in this mid lane as Assassin still pushing Pawn out quite aggressively.
Yeah, and Assassin really looking to use this Morello Nomicon power spike that comes out of Azir to get super aggro and up in Pawn's face, try and unsettle him on this Kassadin. As he's going for the roll, will take a little bit to stack up and really get going, but we've seen how much of a beast Kassadin can be late game.
And that's maybe my worry, actually, is that King have a lot of strong mid-game items now coming through, and EDG kind of charging up a little. Pawn actually going to play a bit more aggressively into Assassin in that mid lane, but just in general, it feels like Twitch needs to charge up, Kassadin kind of needs to charge up as well, and even Gnar, honestly, kind of needs to charge up as well.
Yeah, and I touched on how King do like to roll over teams quite quickly, so maybe they will be looking to use these power spikes, go for the next Dragon, and then really boost themselves up into a good lead because, yeah, you mentioned it. If you had a mid-game team fighting comp, this would nearly be perfect.
And I think that makes the first Dragon that EDG got that much more important because they don't have to worry about that for a couple more minutes, can set up for themselves now and maybe get a better position, some better items to start going. There's the rod for Kassadin finished up as well. Korra's got a nice cost-efficient build here as well to try and fight Lissandra. And he's, you know, still 10 CS behind or so, but not too bad as it looks down in the bottom. Still it is BS farming away, but Deft has kept that gap quite close, and Annie's roaming out now as well.
Yeah, so Woox has actually done a fantastic job of extending the CS. Deft, of course, after giving away that first kill, did have to play a little bit more safely, but still looking to get aggressive. And now that he's picked up that Blade of the Ruined King, this is typical Deft. He gets a Blade of the Ruined King, stealths into mid lane underneath the mid laner, and then tries to 2v2.
And this is, you know, it's funny that you mentioned it's classic Deft because it's also classic Chinese League as well. They love to do this with their Twitch, and Deft is going to come in again. There's the stealth coming through. We'll see if he can make it work here onto Assassin, but a lot of people are on this mid lane for both sides. Actually, all 4 members, I think, of EDG, and about 3 there for King, but not going to pull the trigger, just going to walk away. Now top lane's the action.
Yeah, so Ed would have decided that, yeah, nothing mid lane. Let's just give top a visit, see if we can get anything there. Once again, doesn't look like much action, and they know that this Twitch has been missing for that long now that I would be very surprised if anyone played aggressive enough to be caught.
Yeah, pings there on King as well. They're like, hang on a second. They're missing from this bottom lane. Maybe we pressure this turret with our Sivir now as well. As Korra just farming things out. Again, staying pretty even here up against Lissandra. Sky, though, does have his Morello Nomicon now, so can potentially look for that flash in from Mouse. Wants to go in. Actually got that layup. The box does come through, but Def's going to get that kill. Now Rengar's going to dive in. Def's going to get absolutely chunky. Pops the heal, though, and Sky's also going to come in. That's 1 kill. Now Mouse going to get locked up as Pawn gets that kill onto Sivir. Mouse in a whole host of trouble, though, as Rengar's looking to get that kill and does get up to Lissandra, but Sky now in trouble from Pawn. There's a decent ult pushing Pawn back, though, by Assassin, and now Clearlove going to come in as Korra and Pawn by Assassin. Assassin goes down there to Rek'Sai. That's 3 for 2 right now. Clearlove still going to go in. Pawn, though, still chasing. Not too much mana left. And a great trade there for EDG.
Yeah, and now Rengar looking to get out of here. This is where Rek'Sai excels. Able to see Rengar through his movements. Not able to catch up, however. Does get the execute. So overall, good team fight for EDG, but you see how quickly King want to turn these.
And I know, Spawn, that you love talking about how Rek'Sai's Tremor Sense is such a great vision tool. Think about how it works with Kassadin and how great that mobility in that vision is. Pawn, by the way, steamrolled through that team fight for EDG, the star of that fight.
Yeah, definitely. Def got caught in a little bit of an awkward situation and taken off the board early, and I thought that was actually going to be a lot more trouble than it was, but Pawn played it very well. And then Clearlove just arrived at the perfect time.
Yeah, Clearlove is one to do that. I think he arrives at the perfect time, or not at all, but nice timing there on that particular one. And Def now down the bottom, stealthing up. Maybe going to look for a fight down here. Mouse also off to the side, they're hanging in that brush, but Deft will instead just continue to farm through here, and this is good for Twitch. He just wants to keep farming, with his Blade of the Ruin King and just power up more and more.
Yeah, and because he grabbed a kill there, it actually is quite close now in the CS. A kill is about 13 to 15 CS, depending whether you're going for mages or melee minions. But all in all, this Twitch has now got past the roughest part of the game. It will be interesting to see if he goes for a Youmuu's or a build that I've seen a lot more often now, which is going into the static shift for a little bit more upfront magic damage as well that comes through from that spark. As Clearlove, once again, don't know why I am surprised, but he is in the bottom lane.
He is, as you said, a 5-star. It's not just a 10. I think he's a resort has officially been opened in the bottom half of the map here by Clearlove, as he's going to clear out some waters. The Dragon is coming back up, by the way, which is why these teams are grouping up and wanting to really try and get a pick off if they can. Pawn's going to go aggressive. Assassin quite low, but those soldiers trading so well.
Yeah, just able to turn it and pick up some free damage for himself. And I think that's so important to understand that Kassadin has a lot of upfront burst, but unless he's auto-attacking you, you can turn it around and he can't rift walk away because of that increased duration.
Yeah, you kind of have to go all in a little bit, it feels like, when you're playing Kassadin versus Azir. And Clearlove, again, Resort very much open for business down in the bottom lane, but King have kind of figured out what's going on here and they're just backing away. But to Clearlove's credit, if he just creates pressure here, that opens up the Dragon again, potentially.
Yeah, and it looks like they are... Wow, timid.
Liam does get stunned up there. There's a great knock up there by Clearlove's Rek'Sai and an easy kill for the support, Annie. You're shaking your head there. How awesome is that CC combination?
That is devastating. I can't believe how quickly Clearlove was able to do that damage as well, and I realize why. He's got his completed jungle item and an extra brutalizer and another longsword. This is not a one-item tank Rengar.
And that pick does get in the second Dragon of the game. 2 of 2 actually for EDG on that front. Now Pawn coming in with the Kassadin, trying to get aggressive, but Wooks has rotated back in towards his tier 2 turret. And EDG, kind of interestingly, from all the changes they've had, almost playing a similar style where they want to, get an edge where they can, but still play very patiently, very comfortably.
Yeah, well, they're just playing completely controlled. One pick, Dragon. Rotate around the map as a group, look for opportunities, look for positive team fights. So yeah, they're
Deft in a trouble. Good flash though. Mouse coming in. Will stun up that Rengar. Clearlove going back in, trying to milk him up, but he does get picked up there by Liam's hook. Now Pawn looking for an opportunity. Mouse in the front line actually. Going aggressive. Pawn does get that next kill though. Deft will go down to Azir, and now Mouse so low. There's a double kill for Severe and Pawn. He's going to try and make this so good. A double kill though. He gets it now. XMG could be in trouble, but he does get the last kill. And as the dust settles, it's 4 for 3 in King's favor. That riff walk.
Wow, so much gold going over onto Pawn at this point. 6-2 and 3, absolutely turning into a beast. Now he's picked up the Morellonomicon, and that last riff walk turned a very bad team fight into a very close thing.
And again, just so indicative of Pawn's play. No matter the situation he finds himself in, he always knows what to do. And he basically made the bad situation the best thing it could be in there and picked up the double there towards the end. So impressive here. And meanwhile, back in the island, Koro and Sky just hanging out still, farming up a storm. Again, still very close, but Lysandra's been maybe a bit more impactful in the last few fights.
Yeah, definitely has, but Koro will become that big one-man tank that his team needs. With Clearlove going for a very aggro build, now transferring into that Hex Drinker, will put out a lot of damage, but we saw just then how quickly he will die on Rek'Sai now that he's got all of those offensive items.
And EDG's gold lead has been chopped in half, basically, from the last time they had that fight. Definitely bringing King a little bit further back here, but a very close game regardless here. 1,000 gold or so up for Edward Gaming as Mouse is Really getting frisky on this end. He's actually got the Tabe special. That's Moby Bits with Distortion. He wants to go in. Assassin could be in trouble. Does get locked down there. Clearlove is going through. A great ult for Assassin. Might keep him alive, but Pawn goes in for the kill. Now Rengar's here as well. Wooks is rotated through. Great hook there from Lamb, and there's nowhere for Pawn to go. There's the kill for Siva.
Yeah, rotating so many members into that mid lane, able to trade it 1-for-1. Great move out of King there. However, now they've set Deft in stealth.
Oh. Being sneaky, Deft really wants a pick here. Has his Brutalizer as well, so it seems like he'll be going for that Ghost Blade.
Yeah, it certainly does. Ghost Blade, Blade of the Ruined King is just such a good, smooth 2-item power spike. Gives you enough armor penetration as well that you can even get away with sometimes going in IE depending on how far you get ahead as that third item. And Deft just looking like very comfortable now.
Oh, unleashes here. Clearlove going in as well, but he gets stunned up. Good Lantern actually from Lamb gets him out of there, and the tower does go down.
That's such brave play out of Deft to stealth in between 3 people to try and pick himself up a kill. Does get a summoner spell for it, but King rotating nicely into the mid lane. That's a turret picked up first of the game. So, yeah, they're playing this one very, very solidly at 21 minutes.
Yeah, tower in the top goes down as well. Lysandra picks that one up here. 2 for 0 actually in the turret. So, EDG maybe want to start sieging up some of these objectives if they can. That is one of the issues with Twitch in a lot of ways where his siege just isn't that good. You can, I guess, in theory, use your ultimate, which is great, but that's probably not going to work out for you.
Yeah, and they don't have any other range on the team apart from, of course, Mouse on that Annie, who doesn't have the longest range either anymore. So, yeah, they will have a hard time, I guess, sieging these turrets, especially with the hard engage that can come out of Lysandra and Rengar. But I just feel in 5v5s, they've got a pretty good team fight still.
And it's interesting, I guess, that EDG have almost traded dragons for turrets, which is something we used to see a lot in the old patch back in Season 4. I think EDG are fine with that trade. It's just a matter of keeping dragon control and making sure that you eventually get to the point where you take out turrets, because you should theoretically win these teamfights when you have the dragon advantage.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that they're looking at the items on the side of King right now, and they're understanding this is probably the strongest point for King. Lysandra sitting on her nice 2 items with that Zhonya's finished up, of course. Siva also with not that much armor picked up with the Infinity Edge and Static Shift, the ultimate coming through. So I think they feel that if they can get this Rek'Sai, especially the way it's being built, as well as Narcassin and Twitch into the late game, then they can win this off just being able to teamfight extremely well as a unit. The danger of that is how quickly King take turrets, and if you lose one teamfight at 30 minutes in this game, King will run through your base.
Yeah, well, we'll see, because the next dragon's up in just over a minute now in this game, so King going to try and see if they can contest for their first dragon, which is so important. One's pretty good, especially when you don't have any at this point, as EDG now grouping up towards the mid lane, trying to get a bit sneaky here. Wanting to pick someone off. Again, EDG's modus operandi has basically been find a pick and then take the dragon, so we'll see if they can do that again.
Yeah, as Koro clearing out some wards, just missing that hook.
Nice little bit of ball walking back there, just creating a bit of extra distance as he took out that walk. Clearlove again, good Prey Seeker. Will actually spot off, and there's the ult pop there. Pawn does go over the top. Bowler almost hitting, actually. But we'll reset this fight a little bit. Clearlove, though, wants to go in. So did Wooks. He's in trouble. Death popped his ultimate. Can they go in? But that's a beautiful hook on Nakoro. The box there popped his ult, but Death gets the kill. There's Annie with the next one onto Thresh, and now Clearlove is in deep. Sky is going to go down here. Rek'Sai gets a kill onto Rengar as Rek'Sai finally goes down. As they're trading in, though, but Pawn with that cleanup, and that is 5 kills for 2 there. EDG.
Yeah, they're coming up huge. That was beast mode. And few people that I didn't expect to see that. Sky once again tried to do hero mode for his team, had a very nice ultimate at the end, but EDG's team fight composition is just coming so strong at this point. Mouse taking up Dragon. This will be their 3rd for the game. It's only 24 minutes in, guys, and they've got themselves a turret, a 1 team fight, and a Dragon. Yeah,
great movement there by Koro, crucially taking out the mid turret. It's a pretty good one to get if you only have one, and that's really helpful for Koro. Rek'Sai coming back as well, just going to farm up her jungle. Clearlove's tunnel network, by the way, is actually quite impressive. It's kind of scattering down from top all the way towards the dragon.
Yeah, and now looking to see if he can get a push potentially into the top lane, or maybe just checking that Baron to make sure that King didn't try anything sneaky there. This Cassin has now picked up a needlessly large rod and is going to be completely terrifying in the next team fight.
Pawn, maybe 6, 1, and 3, I think at one point, was already pretty beast, but 8, 4, and 7 picked up a lot of kills for his team. I think that's 15 of the 17 kills that his team has he's participated in, so Pawn definitely doing a lot of lifting here for his team. Now going to take out a turret looking to split push a little bit as well. Just whacking away at that outer turret. Easy pick up there, but actually Clear now could be in trouble. That's a good knock-off after the unborrowed mouse. Coming in there as well, but a great play back. There's the trade though. They'll take it as Nard picks up that kill. Sky going in deep though, but Koro's so tanky. They do not want to go through the gatekeeper.
Yeah, they did not want to run through that gap because Deft just had the perfect lineup for a spray and pray there. Koro nicely able to trade for that one. However, good catch from the side of King. You can see that they're trying to play this game aggressively.
Oh, he actually knocks him back. That's great. Now play there. Death though unleashes as Mouse gets the kill onto his ear, but Sky, he's on top of that. Twitch pops the zombies as well. Walks though does go down as Nard picks up that kill. Death will clean out Lysandra as well. Now Liam's going to go down, and EDG pick up 2 aces in about 2 minutes.
Wow, Koro going completely beast mode once again, jumping in, getting it started, and Deft's positioning was so key. Standing away from his team, making sure if Lysandra went on him, it was only going to hit Twitch, and this might mean a Baron.
Yeah, that's twice now where Deft's Twitch positioning has been on point for that ultimate. You mentioned choke points before when King came in for that trade. That's how they lost that last Dragon fight, and Baron now could go over to EDG. In fact, it looks like with King's jungler quite far away, there's no way for him to stop it.
Yeah, and there's a massive creep wave in the top lane that Pawn will be able to go pick up as well. So that will be his Zhonya's Hourglass potentially. And they've just hit exactly where they want to be, but about 5 minutes early.
Yeah, now Pawn going to come in as well. And just look at the gold between these two. Pawn has got so much gold on this caster, and 2,000 gold with a bit of change there ahead of his laner. And EDG have kind of propped up that lead a bit by quite a lot, actually. 6k ahead, and there's a Rabadon.
And he didn't pick up the Zhonya's, he just goes straight for his hat, so his damage has just skyrocketed.
And Pawn has actually a Morello Nomicon as well that snuck in there. Without me
He's a wizard. He's got a book, a hat, and a staff.
He is an absolute wizard, is correct. And Pawn has been tearing through these team fights. And you can see, you know, the Korean players that have come into play for this team, both Deft and Pawn are having great games so far. And now Deft, oh, he started the split push.
Yeah, and we mentioned Koro might have been having a little bit of a hard time in that top lane, but excelling in these team fights. Like, what more would you expect from quite possibly one of the best top lane team fighters in the world? 2-1-9 now on Nah, and some of his ultimates have just been instrumental in these fights.
Clearlove doing a bit of counter jungling now as well. EDG starting to push their vision further forward into King's jungle and really start taking over this map. Deft's actually got 1 turret, so that's 3 now for EDG to King's 2. And he's going to take maybe a tier 2 here as well. Clearlove is running there for vision with the Tremor Sensor. No answer there from King. That's 2 turrets in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, and in the top lane, so able to push that one right in. They are standing on top of a pink ward, so they know that Deft was stealthing in there. I don't think at this point the King want to fight whatsoever. They just need to put the brakes on the game, take stock. Maybe wait for them to hit a couple more power thresholds. They've just so much MR, I feel that they need to get some Void Staffs out quite quickly.
This is the dangerous part of the game as well, because Baron becomes a very attractive objective at this point in the game. And EDG have got a pretty strong team there. They could force a fight or just go and take it if King aren't interested in contesting. I like the Spirit Visage here from Clearlove, actually. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so going for some CDR, looking to get that auto-attack amplifier with all the AD he has up more often, and looking for himself and Deft to just be able to rip through teams after Pawn's put down all that initial damage.
And speaking of good item pickup, Deft here, BF Sword and a quick Silver Sash. Does not like the Lysandra action that has been happening to him. Assassin actually putting up his Sun turret there. Going to clear out a couple more minions, but Dragon back in 135 now. And EDG, they have controlled this Dragon so exceptionally well.
Yeah, and Mouse with the Ruby Start Zone pickup. I like it because they've been extending their way further and further. Wow, there's a team fight.
Yeah, they're going in. Looks like Deft wants to find it. Masto does go very aggressive. It works with a good spell shield. Dodges it out. Now a lot of damage here being on to Anna, but Clearlove does get pushed back by the ultimate from Azir. They're going to kite back towards the lane though. Koro, they're going to come in. Pawn goes in so deep, and he's somehow still alive. The turret's still there though from Azir's passage. Now Koro, they're going to get locked up by the ultimate. Damage coming in. A great hook there from Lame, and that's a free kill there for King. Now we're going to keep moving through. Deft now could be in trouble, but they will get the kill onto Sky, who went way too far forward there in that. And a 1-for-1 trade. Really weird fight there.
Yeah, but Sky going so far forward probably saved the rest of his team because Deft was unloading. Good wave clear coming out of his ear, so nothing else will happen. And in the end, 1-for-1, they'll take that trade probably 9 times out of 10 at this point, King.
Pawn's going back. He's going to get his, possibly his home guard on, but he'll riff walk back as much as he can. Notice picks up an Amplifying Tome instead. Looking probably for that Void stuff that you mentioned here. And Dragon is coming up very, very soon. Rek'Sai going to get right back into the action. Love this from Clearlove.
Yeah, just making sure that he has control, pushing out that middle lane so they have as much potential vision down the middle mid as they possibly can. Now setting up for a dragon. Clearlove's played this game much more aggressively than I'm used to seeing Clearlove play.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's, again, I kind of called Rek'Sai a very Clearlove champion, and I feel like that actually does work quite well for him, but he's picked his spots beautifully in this game so far, and the Dragon control has just been exceptional for Eggwood Gaming. This would be 4 straight in a row if they can get this as well.
Yeah, and in very, very quick fashion, nearly on the respawn timer every time. Clearlove picking that one up. Rengar wants to go in.
Yeah, they're going to go Mouso looking very scary with that stun. Rengar does jump through will get stunned up. He has to be careful. Korra bounced in there towards Sky, going to zone out Lissandra now, and they're going to get chased down as well. There's nowhere for you to go, and Pawn's going to clean out that kill.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the anti-dive drawn. With Rengar being so low and no Lissandra, it means they will potentially be able to siege down this mid turret, and that's so important because we mentioned if EDG's team has one weakness, it is their siege potential.
Yeah, and they're going to go in again, just take as many turrets as they can. Not super interested in Baron at this point when they can take the free turret. And 6 turrets of 3 it shall be now for EDG. 6,000 gold ahead, a pretty good lead. Good wave in the top that's been built by King though. But EDG should be back to defend that in pretty short order.
Yeah, Baron isn't up yet. It is still about 2 minutes away. Right. So EDG not looking towards that one, but we'll look for some vision around there in about 40 seconds, you would think, of course. It's nice to set up an objective maybe a minute beforehand, just so you don't get caught by surprise.
Yeah, just have to be careful. And that's kind of the cool thing, I guess, about the preseason patches. We do open up all the leagues and they start up once again. It's not just one side of the map that you're concerned about in our late game. Both sides are very, very crucial. Dragon and Baron are not equal exactly, but both very important objectives even late through the game.
Yeah, and for different reasons. You know, if you're on 4 Dragons and Baron's up, sometimes it's even worthwhile to trade it. If you're down to just inhibitors, the creeps don't do relatively that much, and the stats you get from having that 5th Dragon are just so enormous. As we see Pawn looking for the 1v1 potential.
Oh, he knows that he's been used, so he can actually go in. It does actually. Oh my goodness, that burst. Trunks with the W. What a kill. Actually kills Lissandra while altered.
That is insane. He just does so much damage at this point in the game. Able to nearly one combo with Lissandra.
I mean, it's one of those things where you think about Cassidy and you're like, he doesn't do that much damage, but all the skills come out, the W auto coming through as well that scales nicely with AP, and all of the items that Pawn does have, 11, 4, and 9, a well-deserved score here. As Korra is going to come in.
Just does the waltz up and sees if he can get any attention out of his ear. Of course, he did have backup in the form of that sneaky Twitch, who now has gone back to his jungle to farm out. And I think that with EDG's composition, they're happy to just wait for another objective to appear on the map. They understand that they don't have a great siege comp, but what they do have at the moment is a very fed Cassidy and a Twitch that's going to absolutely rip through a lineup.
Yeah, they are not worried about their late game at all. There's plenty of insurance here. EDG have almost got themselves a 10,000 gold lead. As we just approach the 33-minute mark, there's the Void Staff for Pawn. So that one-shot combo that he almost did onto Sky is now going to kill. Even faster than before, if that was possible, given how quickly Lissandra died.
Yeah, I think the Shining Light is this Azir. It's now well on its way. I'm confused as to why he's picked up another needlessly large rod. I do think that they do need to get some Void Staffs out. Of course, that has been picked up on Lissandra, so we'll be doing some nice damage there, because every single member on EDG's side has a major item that involves some form of MR.
Yeah, Rengar has actually found Clearlove's Rek'Sai here. Definitely coming in as well with that stealth. Actually, Lissandra now going to ult on a bomb, but Korra's just in the mix. Bounces in on Magada, looking for the combo. Does whack him into the wall though, and that's a great combo there with this Twitch's rat-a-tat-tat. The easy double there for Defton. What a play.
Yeah, and Korra is that big that, as the flash Tivers just misses out there.
Gets the stun though.
Baron is up, so they won't take the mid turret. They've got 2 kills, one of which was the jungle. Just turn around, pick up the free objective. Yeah,
and they've got plenty of vision moving in towards the Baron as well. Maybe not as much as they'd like. That blue ward actually spotting off quite nicely there. You should see EDG doing this, but King, with only 3 members up, just can't contest.
Yeah, they can't go anywhere near it because of how strong the engage can come through. Of course, Flash Tibbers is not up at the moment, so that does get rid of some of it. But, wow, not even choosing to shop, just straight into this top lane. They're looking to break into the base.
Yeah, and honestly, Korra's teamfight awareness is just incredible, even as a null player. That's twice now that he's just bounced straight towards the enemy, and been ready to go as Mega Knight. Incredible initiation potential.
And don't get me wrong, he's huge, but it still takes very good coordination to jump in with your team that close to you. We talk about these top laners that can cover too much distance almost and get themselves caught out. Koro has been on point with his engages every time.
Yeah, I have to give credit to Mouse as well, whose Annie has just constantly been with Koro to help zone out people. They haven't even needed to peel for depth in the fights that they've won because they've got so much pressure towards their own frontline that nobody wants to go near the Twitch.
Yeah, and when it does, it's only the Lissandra by itself. Since that QSS has been picked up, no danger whatsoever. And Def, feeling that confident in his damage output at the moment, hasn't gone for that last Whisper, has elected for another Zeal.
Oh wow, on top of his Infinity Edge. That's bold, I think, from Def there, who's doing pumping out quite the damage on this Twitch. 6-3 and 13 for him.
Yeah, I think he knows the pawn is that far ahead that their immediate thought is we need to get MR to survive this. So Def is looking for the most immediate.
They're going in. The Rengar will jump through Corridor, will run defense there. Mouse again, great position. Clear going in. Beautiful knockup with the Elbow there. And the ultimates just get unleashed here by EDG. Pawn going in there for the next kill. This could be a 5 clean man ace, and it is. What a play there from EDG right under that tower.
And this is why they are one of the top teams in the region. Such clean play coming up, absolutely massive. I love that King rolled the dice one more time, got in there for the team fight, but in the end, EDG just looked too good.
A filthy wombo combo to end this game, and Edward Gaming back off to the start. Forgotten the 2 wins they had last season as well. What a game to start the end of our evening here. That was insane.
And we talked about the 3 roster swaps. That's only 2 people from the EDG that we're used to seeing, but they played that flawlessly, every single person on the same page, and I think a lot of it has to do with their top laner. Koro is a monster.
Yeah, as I said, just his teamfight presence is beautiful to watch. He knows where he needs to be. He's just creating so much pressure at their front line that nobody wants to walk near him, and Mouse as well backing him up. Like, even when Lissandra was going in and peeling off Deft and Rengar was jumping in, they're still peeling for their AD carry when they have to. But like, if you saw that last team fight, Clearly was off to the side, ready to come back in. Mouse and Koro are running defense towards the top. They know Rengar's coming in, and they just immediately, as soon as Rengar goes in, everyone gets ulted back. Clearly, Flash unburrows and knocks up like 1 million people, and then that's it. Def activates his ult, and they can probably walk away from the keyboard at that point.
Yeah, he just absolutely... And when you get a Twitch to that point in the game, especially if the Twitch is Def, he's going to position himself in a way that the rat-a-tat-tat just takes you out. The thing I liked about their peeling was that they did it with physical people, but they also do it with Def's positioning. So you think, okay, the support's here. AD carry probably around because the support wants to peel for him. No, Deft is on the other side by himself, just opening up to get as much damage as possible.
Yeah, just a great game. And, you know, King did not play badly. They had really strong lanes as well. Everyone kind of 1-for-1 looked like they could match their opponent. So it's not like a big mechanical outskill that we've seen.
At one point, they were up 30 CS in the bottom lane. They looked like they were having a terrific time in their lanes. It's just when it came to that grouping, we mentioned that EDG's first Dragon probably was against the tide, and then the second one happened, and from there they just clawed their way back into a commanding lead.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much, but that was basically a Dragon snowball game, I felt like. And EDG, once they got the first one, just never wanted to concede another one.
Yeah, and they just had it on rotation. Every single time it was up, they just looked for one pick and rotated it through. And that's what good teams do. They don't overextend. They just look for exactly what they need to secure the next objective, and that was played terrifically.
Well, a fantastic game one here in this best of 2, but there's one more left here.